High above Earth's atmosphere, Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Quantum Defense Initiative's hidden lunar facility, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing an incoming alien fleet at the edge of the solar system. The massive vessels of the Meridian Collective appeared as bright points against the cosmic backdrop, their energy signatures unmistakable to Earth's quantum detection array. "They're exactly where we expected them to be," Sarah murmured, her hand unconsciously touching the quantum interface patch at her temple. The neural link connected her directly to Earth's defensive grid, a system that had taken generations to build in absolute secrecy. Dr. James Okonjo's voice came through her neural link, his Nigerian accent carrying a hint of amusement. "The Meridians are scanning us right now. Their sensors are hitting our quantum masking field exactly as planned. All they're seeing is what we want them to see, a planet barely capable of reaching its own moon." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. For 300 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. While the world's governments publicly squabbled over minor issues and maintained the appearance of technological stagnation, a secret coalition of Earth's finest minds had worked tirelessly to develop defenses against the threat they knew would eventually arrive. The Meridian Collective had conquered 17 civilizations across their sector of the galaxy. Each time, their method was the same: identify a technologically inferior species, offer them protection in exchange for resources, and then slowly strip their worlds bare while reducing the population to virtual slavery. They were methodical, patient, and absolutely convinced of their superiority. "Commander," Lieutenant Maya Patel's voice cut through Sarah's thoughts, "the Meridian diplomatic vessel is requesting permission to approach Earth. They're broadcasting on standard frequencies, acting like they're doing us a favor by using primitive radio waves." Sarah nodded, maintaining her composure despite the gravity of the moment. "Accept their request. Let's play this exactly as we've rehearsed. Show them our best technology. Those clunky chemical rockets and the International Space Station. Make sure they see our attempts to scan their ships with radar." The lunar facility's quantum computers hummed silently, processing vast amounts of data, while remaining completely undetectable to Meridian sensors. Earth's true defensive capabilities were hidden behind layers of quantum interference patterns, a technology that Dr. Okonjo had perfected after decades of research. To the Meridians, Earth would appear to be exactly what they expected: a young civilization barely reaching for the stars. "Their preliminary scans are complete," Dr. Okonjo reported. "They're transmitting data back to their fleet. Based on our quantum intercepts, they're already planning the invasion. They think our nuclear weapons are our highest level of technology." He paused, then added, "They're laughing, Sarah. Actually laughing at our primitive defenses." Sarah watched as the diplomatic vessel, sleek and arrogant in its design, began its approach toward Earth. Behind it, the main fleet held position just beyond Mars' orbit, their weapons powered down, confident in their absolute superiority. They had no reason to be cautious, not against a civilization that still used fossil fuels and hadn't even colonized its own solar system. "Let them laugh," Sarah said softly. "Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak when you are strong is the greatest advantage of all." She thought back to the generations of scientists, engineers, and strategists who had dedicated their lives to this moment. While the world watched cat videos and argued about social media, the Quantum Defense Initiative had been preparing for the greatest threat humanity had ever faced. The diplomatic vessel entered medium Earth orbit, its sensors probing what they thought was the extent of Earth's defensive capabilities. They would find exactly what they expected: satellites, space stations, and the occasional military spacecraft running on conventional propulsion. All carefully crafted decoys, maintaining humanity's masquerade of technological inferiority. "They're preparing their first transmission," Lieutenant Patil announced. "Full diplomatic protocol, but our quantum analysis confirms they're already mapping strategic targets. Their fleet is positioning for optimal strike coverage." Sarah straightened her uniform. a simple design that would appear appropriately unsophisticated to their visitors. Very well. Let's welcome our guests and hear what demands they've prepared. Dr. Okonjo, maintain quantum surveillance. Lieutenant Patel, inform all QDI bases to stay at full alert, but maintain complete quantum masking. As she prepared to receive the first transmission from the Meridian diplomats, Sarah thought about the long game humanity had played. While other civilizations had rushed to showcase their technological achievements, humanity had learned from its own bloody history. The art of deception, of appearing harmless while harboring devastating power, had become Earth's greatest defense. The Meridians would make their demands, offer their false friendship, and prepare their invasion, all while remaining completely unaware that they had already lost. Earth's quantum defense grid could disable their entire fleet with a single command, turning their advanced technology against them in ways they couldn't begin to comprehend. But that moment would come later. For now, Sarah Chen would play her role as the commander of humanity's modest space forces, appearing appropriately awed by the Meridian's technology, while hiding her connection to the most sophisticated defensive network ever created. The first transmission from the Meridian vessel began, and Sarah allowed herself one final thought before assuming her diplomatic persona. Sometimes the best way to win a war was to make your enemy believe there wasn't one to fight in the first place. The Meridian ambassador's hologram towered in the United Nations General Assembly, a deliberately imposing figure with iridescent scales and multiple sets of eyes that seemed to evaluate everything simultaneously. Ambassador Krell's translated voice carried the practiced warmth of a predator luring its prey. "We offer friendship, protection, and technological advancement," the ambassador declared, gesturing with elegant tentacles. "The galaxy is filled with dangers your young species cannot imagine." The Meridian Collective has guided many civilizations through their early stages of development. From her position in the lunar facility's Quantum Command Center, Sarah Chen watched the transmission with Dr. Okonjo and Lieutenant Patel. The quantum feeds were analyzing every fluctuation in the Meridian's energy signatures, every subtle movement of their ships. "They're moving their fleet into a standard conquest formation," Lieutenant Patel reported, her fingers dancing over the quantum interface. "Hidden behind Jupiter's magnetic field, trying to mask their energy signatures. They think we can't detect them there." Dr. Okonjo nodded, his eyes fixed on the quantum analysis streams. Classic predatory behavior. While the ambassador speaks of peace, their heavy cruisers are already targeting our major population centers. He paused, checking another data stream. "They're also trying to hack what they think are our primary defense networks. The dummy systems are keeping them entertained." Sarah watched as the world's political leaders played their parts perfectly, asking appropriately naive questions about the Meridian's technology and intentions. The greatest deception wasn't just technological, it was psychological. Humanity had learned to present itself as divided, politically fragmented, and technologically unsophisticated. "The Meridians are transmitting their standard protection treaty now," Lieutenant Patel announced. "Just as our intelligence predicted, they want control of our orbital space and exclusive mining rights to the solar system. In exchange, they're offering what they call basic technological assistance." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Basic technology that comes with hidden backdoors and kill switches, no doubt. The same strategy they used on the Proxima colonies before strip mining them into extinction. The quantum feed suddenly pulsed with new data. Dr. Okonjo leaned forward, his expression intense. "They're deploying their automated mining platforms behind Mars. Quantum signatures indicate they're already programmed with Earth's mineral composition. They're not even waiting for us to sign their treaty." "Of course not," Sarah replied. "They've never needed permission before. Why start now?" She touched her neural interface, connecting to the quantum defense grid's deeper systems. The true extent of Earth's defensive network stretched far beyond the solar system, quantum relays hidden in dimensional pockets that the Meridian's technology couldn't detect. The UN session continued below, a carefully choreographed dance of diplomatic niceties and feigned ignorance. World leaders expressed appropriate concern about certain terms in the treaty, but always stayed just short of outright rejection. The Meridians needed to believe their strategy was working. Quantum analysis of their fleet movements complete, Lieutenant Puddle reported. They're positioning for a standard three-phase invasion. First wave targets our communications and power infrastructure. Second wave hits military installations. Third wave secures population centers. She paused, checking additional data. They're confident. Their internal communications show they expect minimal resistance. Dr. Okonjo's quantum systems continued their silent observation, gathering data on every aspect of Meridian technology. Their overconfidence is remarkable. They haven't even activated their primary weapon systems yet. They truly believe their standard invasion force is more than enough for a primitive world like ours. Sarah watched as Ambassador Krell concluded his address to the UN, his holographic form radiating benevolent authority. The world's leaders applauded politely, maintaining the illusion of diplomatic progress. Meanwhile, Earth's quantum defense grid continued its invisible work, mapping every weakness in the Meridian Fleet systems. They've given us 72 hours to accept their treaty, Lieutenant Patel noted. Their internal communications suggest they expect us to accept within 48. If we don't, she let the implication hang in the air. If we don't, they launch their invasion anyway. Sarah finished, just as they've done 17 times before. She stood, walking to the quantum tactical display. But this time, things will be different. Humanity isn't like the other civilizations they've conquered. We've had centuries to prepare to learn, to hide our true strength. The quantum feeds showed the Meridian fleet continuing its subtle repositioning, their ships moving with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. They had no way of knowing that every movement, every communication, every energy signature was being analyzed and countermatched by Earth's quantum systems. Dr. Okonjo, Sarah said, "What's the status of the quantum interference patterns?" The scientist checked his readings, ready and synchronized across the entire solar system. One command will collapse their entire communication network. A second will disable their weapons. A third, he smiled, a third will show them exactly what humanity is capable of. Sarah nodded, watching the Meridian ships move through their practiced invasion patterns. Continue monitoring. Let them think their deception is working. Let them believe we're just another primitive species about to join their collection of conquered worlds. As the UN session concluded, and the world's media buzzed with speculation about the Meridian's generous offer, humanity's true defense system remained invisible and waiting. The quantum web had been woven, its strands reaching through dimensions the Meridians couldn't perceive. When the moment came, they would learn that sometimes the most dangerous prey was the one that knew how to play weak. The Meridian fleet struck without warning, exactly 46 hours after presenting their treaty. Their ships emerged from behind Jupiter in perfect attack formation, weapons already charging, confident in their overwhelming technological superiority. In the Quantum Command Center, alarms remained silent. They weren't needed. Everything was proceeding exactly as humanity had predicted. Multiple quantum signatures detecting weapons activation, Lieutenant Puddle reported calmly. They're launching their first wave attack drones. Standard pattern, just as their previous conquests documented. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the central quantum display, watching the Meridian fleet's approach with the steady gaze of someone who had rehearsed this moment countless times. Time to show them what humanity has been hiding all these centuries. Dr. Okonjo, initiate Phase 1. The scientist's fingers danced across his quantum interface, quantum interference patterns engaging, targeting their drone control networks. Now, in the space between Earth and Jupiter, thousands of Meridian attack drones suddenly froze, their control signals scrambled by quantum fields they couldn't detect. The Meridian fleet's commanders had only moments to register this first sign that something was wrong before Phase 2 began. Their command and control networks are trying to compensate, Lieutenant Patel noted. They're switching to backup frequencies. Exactly as predicted. Sarah nodded. Perfect. They're following their standard invasion protocols. Initiate Phase 2. Dr. Okonjo's quantum systems pulsed with invisible energy. Quantum displacement field activating. Targeting their primary weapon systems. Aboard the Meridian vessels, confusion turned to alarm as weapon systems began failing across the entire fleet. Energy cannons powered down. Shield generators flickered and died, and communication systems dissolved into quantum static. The mighty armada that had conquered 17 civilizations found itself suddenly defenseless. Ambassador Krell's panicked transmission cut through the chaos, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. What trickery is this? Your primitive technology cannot possibly. Primitive. Sarah's voice carried the weight of centuries of preparation as she addressed the Meridian fleet. You saw what we wanted you to see, Ambassador. Humanity learned long ago that true power lies not in showing your strength, but in making your enemies underestimate you. Through the quantum feeds, they watched as the Meridian fleet attempted to regroup. Emergency protocols activated, backup systems engaged, and sophisticated diagnostic programs searched for the source of their failures. None of it mattered. Earth's quantum defense grid had already compromised every system, every backup, every contingency. They're trying to launch their contingency weapons, Lieutenant Puddle reported, attempting to bypass their own safety protocols. Desperate moves from a desperate enemy, Dr. Okonjo observed. Initiating Phase 3. The quantum defense grid's final phase activated, and the true extent of humanity's technological advancement was revealed. Dimensional pockets opened around the Meridian fleet, exposing their ships to carefully calibrated quantum fields that rendered their technology useless. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy found themselves drifting, their mighty engines reduced to cold metal. This is impossible. Ambassador Krell's voice trembled. Your species, you were nothing. We watched you, studied you. Your technology was primitive. No, Ambassador, Sarah replied. You saw our surface, our disguise. While you watched our space stations and satellites, our quantum technology operated in dimensions your sensors couldn't detect. While you monitored our radio waves, we were reading your quantum signatures. While you plotted our conquest, we were mapping every weakness in your systems. The quantum displays showed the Meridian fleet in complete disarray. Ships that had never known defeat hung powerless in space, their crews facing a reality they couldn't comprehend. Humanity, the supposedly primitive species they had planned to subjugate, had defeated them without firing a single conventional shot. Commander, Lieutenant Patel called out. They're attempting to activate their self-destruct systems. Sarah's expression hardened. Not today. Dr. Okonjo. Already blocked, the scientist confirmed. Their quantum signatures are completely under our control. They couldn't self-destruct even if they wanted to. Sarah opened a channel to the entire Meridian fleet. Listen carefully. Your ships are disabled, but your life support systems remain functional by our choice. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are dead. And your much-vaunted technology is useless. But we are not like you. We do not destroy those we can defeat. She paused, letting the message sink in. You will be allowed to withdraw, but first, you will witness humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as defenders of peace through strength. The galaxy will know that Earth is not to be underestimated. The quantum feeds showed the message spreading through the Meridian fleet, not just through conventional channels, but through their most secure quantum communications. The message was clear. Humanity had access to everything. Their technological superiority wasn't just real, it was overwhelming. They're standing down. Lieutenant Puddle reported. All remaining active systems are powering down. They're surrendering. Dr. Okonjo checked his quantum readings. Should we begin restoring their basic systems? Give them enough power to limp home. Sarah nodded. Yes, but first, let's make sure they understand exactly what happened here. Show them our full quantum sensor logs. Let them see how long we've been watching, how deeply we've penetrated their systems, how completely we could have destroyed them if we'd chosen to. As the quantum defense grid began its controlled restoration of the Meridian Fleet's systems, Sarah thought about the centuries of preparation that had led to this moment. Humanity had learned from its own violent history that true strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to show mercy from a position of absolute power. The age of hiding was over. Earth would emerge onto the galactic stage not as another conquering empire, but as something the galaxy had never seen before, a civilization that had mastered the art of peace through unassailable strength. News of the Meridian Fleet's defeat spread through the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. Within days, the unthinkable had become reality. The invincible Meridian Collective, conquerors of 17 worlds, had been humbled by a civilization they'd dismissed as primitive. But for Commander Sarah Chen and her team, victory brought new challenges. The quantum feeds are lighting up with interstellar chatter. Lieutenant Pottle reported, her hands moving across the holographic display. Every major civilization in the sector is discussing Earth. Some with fear, others with hope. Dr. Okonjo looked up from his quantum analysis station. The Meridian Fleet has just crossed the Kuiper Belt. Their ships are operating at minimal power, exactly as we allowed. But more importantly, look at this. He gestured to a stream of decoded transmissions. They're already facing internal rebellion. 3 of their conquered worlds have declared independence. Sarah studied the quantum tactical display, watching the ripples of their victory spread across known space. The Meridian Collective's carefully maintained image of invincibility had shattered, and with it, their empire's foundation of fear began to crumble. "Commander," a new voice called out. Admiral Zhang, Earth's highest-ranking military official, stepped into the Quantum Command Center. The Security Council is waiting. It's time to decide how humanity presents itself to the galaxy. The meeting chamber deep within the lunar facility held Earth's most influential leaders, military commanders, scientists, and politicians who had maintained the secret of humanity's true capabilities for generations. Now they faced the complexity of emergence. The Proximan refugees are already requesting our protection, one council member reported. They want help reclaiming their homeworld from what remains of Meridian control. The Centaurian Alliance has proposed immediate diplomatic relations, another added. They're offering trade agreements, cultural exchange, and they're particularly interested in our quantum technology. Admiral Zhang raised his hand for silence. This is the moment our ancestors prepared for. Not just the defense of Earth, but the responsibility that comes with power. Commander Chen, you led our first contact defense. What's your assessment? Sarah stood, her quantum interface displaying the latest galactic data. The galaxy is watching to see what kind of power will become. The Meridians conquered through force. Others, like the Centaurian Alliance, build influence through economic leverage. We have the opportunity to establish something different. She gestured to the quantum display, showing the 17 worlds formerly under Meridian control. These civilizations need help rebuilding, but not through conquest or exploitation. We can show the galaxy a new path, protection without domination, advancement without submission. Dr. Okonjo joined her at the display. Our quantum technology remains generations ahead of anything else in known space. Even the Meridian's most advanced sensors couldn't detect how it works. We can use this advantage not to conquer, but to defend, both ourselves and others who need protection. The council chamber filled with discussion, but Sarah noticed a shift in the conversation. The fear and preparation that had driven humanity for centuries was giving way to something new. Purpose. There's something else. Lieutenant Pottle interrupted, her voice urgent. We're detecting quantum signatures from beyond known space. Something different. Not Meridian, not any known civilization. The quantum feeds displayed the anomalous readings, patterns that suggested technologies operating on principles even Earth's advanced systems struggle to analyze. The galaxy was larger and possibly more dangerous than even humanity had prepared for. "Well," Admiral Zhang said, a slight smile on his face, "it seems the real test of our preparation is just beginning. Commander Chen, prepare a diplomatic mission to the liberated worlds. Dr. Okonjo, I want your team analyzing those unknown quantum signatures. Lieutenant Patel, establish secure communication channels with every civilization requesting contact." Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Humanity had emerged victorious from its first galactic challenge, but victory had brought responsibility. The quantum defense grid that had protected Earth would now become part of something larger, a shield for those who couldn't defend themselves. "One more thing," she added, addressing the Council. "We should share some of our quantum technology with the liberated worlds. Not everything, but enough to prevent another Meridian collective from rising. True security comes not from hoarding power, but from ensuring stability." As the Council debated the details of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage, the quantum feeds continued monitoring space. The Meridian fleet limped toward their home system, their empire crumbling. The 17 liberated worlds began their first tentative steps toward independence, and somewhere, beyond known space, unknown quantum signatures suggested that humanity's greatest challenges and opportunities still lay ahead. Earth had kept its secrets for centuries, waiting for the right moment to reveal its strength. Now that strength would serve not just humanity, but any civilization that sought peace in a dangerous galaxy. The age of hiding was over. The age of protection had begun. 1 year after the Meridian incident, Commander Sarah Chen stood in Earth's first open quantum embassy on New Proxima, watching ships from a dozen different civilizations dock at the orbital station above. The quantum defense grid had evolved, its invisible web now protecting not just Earth, but a growing alliance of free worlds. The latest reports from Meridian space, Lieutenant Patel's hologram reported from the Quantum Command Center. Their empire has completely dissolved. The last puppet government surrendered this morning. All 17 formerly conquered worlds are now self-governing. Dr. Okonjo's hologram joined them, his quantum interface displaying complex data streams. More importantly, our technology sharing initiative is showing promising results. The basic quantum shields we provided to the liberated worlds are successfully preventing any attempt at new conquests. The age of easy planetary subjugation is over. Sarah nodded, watching a Centaurian diplomatic vessel dock alongside ships from former Meridian worlds. The galaxy had changed more in 1 year than in the previous century. Earth's emergence had sparked not just political change, but a fundamental shift in how civilizations interacted. "And what about our visitors from beyond known space?" she asked, turning to the quantum display showing the mysterious signatures they detected after the Meridian defeat. Dr. Okonjo's expression grew serious. "The quantum signatures are like nothing we've seen before. They're not hostile. At least not yet. But they're watching, learning. Our best analysis suggests they're as advanced beyond us as we were beyond the Meridians, which is precisely why we need to be ready." Admiral Zhang's hologram joined the conversation. "But ready doesn't mean hostile. We've proven that technological superiority doesn't have to lead to conquest." Sarah turned to the window, watching as representatives from across known space made their way to the embassy's main conference chamber. Today marked the formal establishment of the Galactic Defense Coalition, an alliance of free worlds dedicated to preventing any civilization from following the Meridian's path of conquest. The quantum defense grid is now operating at full capacity, Lieutenant Patel reported. "We're successfully monitoring everything from the Carina Arm to the Outer Rim. No fleet can move without us knowing about it, and yet we choose not to control," Sarah mused. "That's what really frightens the remnants of the Meridian leadership. They can't understand why we don't use our power to dominate." Dr. Okonjo smiled. "Perhaps that's why those unknown observers are so interested in us. We've done something unprecedented in this part of the galaxy, created peace through strength without using that strength for conquest." The quantum feed suddenly pulsed with new data. The mysterious signatures from beyond known space had changed. They were no longer just observing. They were sending a signal. Clear, deliberate, and aimed directly at Earth. "It's a first contact request," Lieutenant Patil announced, her voice tight with excitement. "They're ready to talk." Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Humanity had emerged from hiding, defended itself without becoming a conqueror, and now faced contact with a civilization that might be to them what they had been to the Meridians. But this time, there would be no deception, no hidden strength. "Send our response," she ordered. "Let them know we're ready for open dialogue. We've nothing to hide anymore." As the quantum signal pulsed across space, carrying humanity's acceptance of contact, Sarah reflected on how far they'd come. Earth had transformed from a seemingly primitive world to the guardian of galactic peace. The quantum defense grid, once a secret last resort, now openly protected dozens of worlds. And humanity's philosophy of strength without dominance had reshaped galactic politics. Admiral Zhang's hologram nodded approvingly. "Your ancestors would be proud, Commander. They built the quantum defense grid to protect Earth. You've used it to protect the galaxy." The conference chamber below filled with representatives of formerly warring species, now united under the banner of mutual defense and cooperation. The Galactic Defense Coalition wasn't just an alliance. It was a testament to humanity's vision of how power should be used. "The unknown civilization ship will arrive in 3 days," Lieutenant Patil reported. "They're following all our protocols, respecting our space. Whatever they are, they're showing more diplomacy than the Meridians ever did. Because they recognize what we've built here," Dr. Okonjo observed. "Not an empire, not a conquest, but a genuine coalition of free worlds. Protected by technology, united by choice." Sarah touched her quantum interface, feeling the vast network of defenses and monitoring systems that now span known space. Humanity had hidden its strength for centuries, waiting for the right moment to emerge. When that moment came, they had chosen not just to defend, but to protect. Not just to win, but to lead. "Prepare for their arrival," she ordered. "But this time, we meet them as we truly are. No deception, no hidden strength. Earth has shown the galaxy that true power lies not in conquest, but in the wisdom to use strength in service of peace." As the quantum signal carrying their response disappeared into deep space, Sarah knew that humanity's greatest challenge and greatest opportunity lay ahead. They had changed the galaxy once by revealing their hidden strength. Now they would change it again by showing how that strength could unite rather than divide, protect rather than destroy. The age of deception was over. The age of guardianship had begun, and somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, an advanced civilization was coming to meet the species that had reshaped the galaxy not through force, but through the courage to use power wisely.